The blue background with the white number, which ordinarily would mean 11C, but he's listed as 11A, but we won't worry about that now because we do have the green flag at the back of the grid then, so it's going to be all eyes to the lights go out and away we go, and it's not the best of starts there for the number 501 of Graham Hickler, but it's almost side by side there between Dan Jackson and Tony Perkin, but I believe that Dan Jackson has got the advantage as they go in towards Coppice then, and Keith, I don't know what it's like your end of the circuit, but the rain is coming down once again here. Not that it will affect these guys too much.
No, it won't. That's the good thing about these guys do run on treaded tyres, so yeah, it's not something that's going to affect them now. They don't have a great angle of lean anyway, but yeah, a few sprinkles coming on, nothing too heavy on the windscreen, but I can see what you mean. It's there's definitely a spray going on. Obviously these guys will definitely feel it on the visor, so I imagine the lack of adhesion flags might be getting shown around the circuit at various points as the marshals just give a bit of a gentle warning to the riders. But usually with the rain, of course, the riders are well aware of what's hitting them. Just a little bit of a gentle sprinkle. It seems to have stopped as quickly as it started there. So hopefully it was just a short, sharp one. But everybody in the paddock will know that we are running under wet weather conditions. So you've got to run what you brung as far as the tyre choice goes. And that could well have an effect. Yeah, looking for a bit of spray coming off these bikes. There's nothing really, no kind of great plumes or anything like that. So I think they're relatively safe out there.
Well, I'm watching them come out of the chicane now there, and that to me looks like it could well be Dan Jackson ahead of Tony Perkins. Certainly that's the distinctive colour and body shape of Graham Hickler, the body of the bike, that is to say, as they make their way in towards Scotland's Mountain. First, second and third, Jackson, Perkins and Hickler. Fourth place there is from this distance, could well be Angela Cragg there. It certainly looks as though it's a three-digit number there, of which of course Angela Cragg on bike number 631 is. So Angela Cragg, who was second in the 11Bs earlier on today, and that was fifth place overall for Angela. She's right up there in contention, but she's got a little bit of pressure from behind there as the chasing pack look to make up further positions. But let's have a look then as they come out of barn, and it is going to be the number 137 of Dan Jackson who leads the pack then. Out of barn, getting the power down and across the line. 137 Dan Jackson, 22 Tony Perkin. The gap at the end of lap number 1 is 2.2 seconds, and then the gap between Perkin and Hickler 3.1 seconds. Here they come then. There's Angela Cragg ahead of the 53 machine of Dawson, Tom, Stokes, Hebb. All across the line there, and the gap between those riders is only around about 2.2 seconds or so.
Well, out in front it looks as though Jackson is pulling away little by little, bit by bit. It's exactly what you got to do really. Tony Perkin there in second, there's Graham Hickler there in third. And then you're right about this battle coming along. These guys are very close indeed. In fact, side-by-side stuff there. I think that is Cragg and Dawson, I think, side-by-side arguing over as they were a little bit earlier as well. So these two are very good at mixing it there. But Tong and Stokes very close indeed to the mix there. So definitely got a bit of a battle going on for the minor placings here, as the leaders make their way down through the gooseneck towards Mansfield once again. There's the first one, there's the second one, here comes the third one. And then I'm looking forward to that battle coming down the hill once again to see if we're going to see any outbraking manoeuvres there. No, we've got a little bit of a gap of a separation there actually. I'm not quite sure who that is, who's managed to get a little bit of a break. Once again, they've all got very similar leathers and similar looking bikes, so from this distance it becomes even harder to tell them apart. Again, there's no great spray coming off the tyres. The wet patches on the track are not growing any much. Certainly the dry ones are looking drier and drier as we go through, so hopefully that last little sprinkle was just a short, sharp one there, Bradley.
Yeah, you're right there. We'll just have a look further down the order there. That battle that Angela Cragg wasn't ahead of at one point there. Looks like she's dropped a few positions, as you mentioned, throughout the course of this second lap. And so we're looking now. Perkin is the fastest man in the first sector then. He's gone 2 tenths quicker than Dan Jackson, but it's 2.2 seconds advance Dan Jackson as they completed the first lap. Let's have a look at what the gap will be when Tony Perkin comes across the line then. Second sector there. And yeah, it looks like like Jackson's got around about 2 seconds or so on Perkin in that final segment. So Jackson leads Tony Perkin by 4 seconds, and Perkin leads Higlett by 6.2. Here comes that battle there. It's the number 53 machine at the moment then of Dawson who leads that one. That's for the 11Bs, ahead of the number 17 of Tong, Stokes, and then Cragg. Angela Cragg drops 3 positions on that lap. Just goes to show how quickly it can change, doesn't it, Keith? 1 lap ago she was leading the 11Bs. This time around she's not on the podium, but plenty of work to do. But we've got, what's that, 3 laps to go, so we've still got a little bit of time there for Angela.
Yep, certainly got a work cut out though, because as you say, that number 53 machine of Dawson is running away with this at the sharp end there. Stuart Tong, Robin Stokes ahead of her as well there, so Angela Cragg coming past me now, but I think she's lost the toe. I have to say, I can't see her getting back on in touch. I'm not quite sure, maybe she had a bit of a wobble across the back there or something like that, but she certainly lost an awful lot of time there very, very quickly indeed, which is a great shame. But let's see if she can gain at least one of those places back. So the leaders come down the hill once again. And Jackson's certainly been the class act in this class this weekend, hasn't he?
Yeah, you're right there. I mean, it's really in towards the bottom of the mountain then. There's Tony Perkins out of the chicane, but Tony Perkins, by number 22, has an even bigger advantage over the number 501 of Graham Higgy. Did you say his former YPM champion was Higgy?
Yeah, that's right. 20... Sharp, didn't take a breath. 12, 13, something like that, I think. A while ago.
A while ago, yeah, definitely. But no, he's certainly lost none of his speed there, has he? He's there in 3rd place overall running class, of course. And everybody going personal best in the first sector on this 3rd lap as Dan Jackson takes a look over his left shoulder to see the whereabouts of Tony Perkin, and the answer is that it was 4 seconds the gap between Jackson and Perkin, but that's opened up by around about a second or so on this one, because it is now, in fact, it's 4.7 seconds. So it opens up by around about 3/4 of a second on that lap, but it's the fastest lap of the race. Purple in both sectors for Dan Jackson, so safe to say that he's got the hammer down on this one. Perkin, Higlett up next, 2nd and 3rd. Next up, the number 53 machine there of Dawson certainly opened up his advantage over the number 17 machine in 52. So that's Tom and Stokes. That's 2nd and 3rd place in the 11Bs. Next up is Heb Cragg. So Cragg drops another position there on circuit, but remains in 4th position in class. But the race leader then already through the dip and up towards Park Corner there. Looks like Graham Higlett's just coming past you now, Keith.
Yeah, he sure is. He's firing his way up the straight there, and in fact now going past me is the 53 machine, looking very determined indeed as Richard Dawson. Has Cragg managed to get any closer to... No, been passed by Matt Heb as well now, so I wonder if she's got some sort of machine troubles there for trouble, because she's certainly not going as quick as she did earlier on that Manx Dawson, is she, Bradley?
No, absolutely. She had a good race earlier on today there, did Angela Cragg, 2nd place in the 11Bs, but obviously it's not just the Max Norton that Angela races either, is it? Because we have seen her out there on a Honda NSR 250 as well.
Yeah, and I think she was out on a GP Original, if I remember rightly, at Brands Hatch the other day as well.
Oh,
so yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure it was her. Yeah, I'm not going to take an oath on that one, but I know I've seen Angela racing other things as well. Yeah, you're right. Right, she's got an NSR 250, and she hasn't brought it out to play with 400s this weekend. That would give us a nice little bit of variety, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I can't imagine there's too many things more different than a Manx Norton and an NSR 250.
Yeah, definitely very different eras, that's for sure. Well, they've both got 2 cylinders, I suppose. So.
Yeah, 2 cylinders and 2 wheels. Yeah, that's close enough there. Is Tony Perkin?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Last lap flag now goes out to our leader Dan Jackson as he crosses the line for the penultimate time there.
It's Tony Perkin who's the fastest man on the circuit.
Oh, is he? Leaving it a bit late now though, Tony.
He's gone 1.4 seconds quicker than Dan Jackson. Not to say that Dan Jackson has slowed up there, because he went to personal best on that lap, but Tony Perkin looks as though he's found a whole load of time in that first sector, because Dan Jackson went purple in the 2nd sector, but still Tony Perkin around about 1.5 seconds quicker than Jackson in that first sector alone. So that is 1st and 2nd. Higlett there, personal best for him on this lap. Dawson, Tong, Stokes, Heb all across the line. There goes Angela Cragg across the line now. Still 4th place in class there, and everybody going personal best, Keith, in both sectors.
So that's telling us that the track is getting drier and drier, basically. These tyres are getting more heat into them. And on the back straight here, I've still got that little bit of a dark patch all the way, but it's in a straight line, actually leading all the way up towards Park Corner. And yeah, coming down into Mansfield, it doesn't seem to be any great difference in the tarmac there either. So yeah, I'm thinking that we're seeing a pretty dry track. So you'll ask who to get your gamble on. I'd definitely go for dry weather tyres now, I think. But having said that, the sky is still very grey up there, isn't it? We're not seeing too much bright sunshine, are we, mate?
No, you're right there. It's a very apt description as well. They're silvery grey. I like that one. We'll have to keep that in the memory bank. But race leader there, Dan Jackson, making his way through the woodland section now there. And that's where it's going to be most treacherous there, isn't it, Keith? Like I say, you'll know better than most that it just seems to stay a little bit damp underneath the trees.
Yeah, it just sort of holds the moisture in there. Obviously, the sunlight doesn't get to the track quite as well. And I don't think it gets there to heat the track up at all. So yeah, it's always a little bit trickier through there. Also, I wonder about the tree sap thing. It doesn't quite overhang the circuit anymore, but you do always wonder about a little bit of sap getting blown on the circuit and things like that. So yeah, psychologically, it's never good going through there with smooth.
Checker flag has gone out there, and it's Jackson ahead of Perkin by 1.2 seconds at the end of that race there. So Dan Jackson set a personal best of a 2 minute 0.5 on that final lap there. But get this, Keith, Tony Perkin went 1 minute 58.474. So he really did have the hammer down on that final lap there, but it was too little too late there, unfortunately, for the man on bike number 22. Graham Higlet across the line there, 17.7 seconds adrift, but it doesn't matter if you lose by an inch or a mile. Third place is still third place, and solid points there for his championship campaign then. So first of the 11 Bs across the line is number 53 Dawson, ahead of Tongan Stokes by 1.2 seconds. Then Stokes just about beats the number 56 on head by a tenth of a second to round out the podium. Ahead in fourth place, Angela Craig on number 631. Fourth place in class for Angela.